Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at noon.
New for you at noon. A man could be charged with disorderly conduct after claiming he has COVID-19 and coughing on people. It happened at Youngblood Coffee in downtown Fargo yesterday. The coffee shop posted on Facebook saying the man came in without a mask, violating store policy. He refused to leave and said multiple times that he was positive for the disease. They say the man coughed directly in an employee's face. Now, Fargo police are now telling us an officer completed a report for disorderly conduct. It's been forwarded to the city attorney for consideration. If charged, he could face a $500 fine. Well, snow is drying up and the roadways are looking clear, but what should we expect this afternoon and throughout the weekend? Let's check in with meteorologist Lisa Green. I really hope she has some good news.
Well, it's great to see that blue sky on the sky cam there after all that snow we've had recently. We've been getting those reports in, more and more rolling in this morning. Ashley and Ellendale, some of our big numbers there at about 7 inches of snow in that area. And in Jamestown, we had about 2 inches of snow. At the airport in Fargo, 2.7. That is a record for the date. It was an early season snowfall. So that's on the North Dakota side. In Minnesota, Dalton, 10.5 inches. Vergas had close to 9 inches there. Deer Creek a little over 7. So they had some big totals in Minnesota as well. Back over to Sabin, about 3 inches of snow and a little over 3 in Fergus Falls too. So we've got that blue sky right now. It's just looking great as we're looking off the east. If we were to point the camera off to the, or looking off to the west, if we were to point the camera to the east, we'd see some clouds. I've got our black and white visible satellite map here. And I want to point out a couple of things. That yellow line, that's the clearing line. West of there, we've got clear skies, and we can actually see where the snowpack is in white. Up by Grand Forks, we've got a lot of exposed ground in that area because we didn't get as much snow, or none at all yesterday at least. Clouds off to the east. One other thing to quickly point out, we've got lake effect clouds coming off of Devil's Lake here because we have those warmer open waters and the air itself is cooler and those clouds have developed. And when I say cooler, I mean it's cold. We're below freezing. I'm going to have details on how long this chill down will last coming up in just a few minutes.
You say it's below freezing. I think anything 70 is below freezing. So maybe I should have been in Grand Forks yesterday where there was no snow at all. Thanks again, Lisa.
Yeah.
But 2 people are hurt after a car crash in a stalled car with a man working under the hood. Minnesota State Highway Patrol says it happened last night on Highway 113 near Flum. Nakota Keyser of Twin Valley was working under the hood of his car without his hazard lights on. That's when Caitlin Buchan's car crashed into his. Now, both people were treated at local medical facilities and are expected to be okay. The Itasca County Sheriff's Office is warning people to be on the lookout for mail theft. The sheriff says outgoing checks are being reported as stolen from mailboxes out in the county. The public notice that says people should avoid putting up the flag on their mailbox when they have outgoing mail because the mail carrier will see it regardless. Even safer yet, you should drop your mail off at the post office or on an official UPS box. If you experience mail theft, call your local law enforcement and post office. Well, the city of Duluth is announcing plans to keep the homeless population out of the cold this winter. City leaders say they will open an emergency warming center on any night after November 4th when temperatures dip below 32 degrees. They say they are prepared to serve as many people as needed between 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. and that there will be strict cleaning measures in both at both locations. Now, city leaders say they're also considering additional locations to help meet social distancing guidelines if they're needed. Sunflower farmers in North Dakota are expecting their biggest crop in history. The National Sunflower Association says they're projecting 2.8 billion pounds this year. That's up 44% from last year. 1.2 billion pounds are coming from North Dakota alone. Minnesota, however, is predicted to have a decreased crop. Well, Moorhead's new COVID-19 saliva testing site is now open to North Dakota residents too. It opened last weekend inside the old Edison Elementary School at 1110 14th Street South. It's open Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays from noon to 7 p.m. and from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays. Testing is free, but they're asking you to pre-register through the Minnesota Department of Health's website. The American Civil Liberties Union of Minnesota is suing the state, alleging prison officials have not taken adequate precautions. To protect inmates from COVID-19, a petition filed yesterday asked a court to force the state to keep people in custody safe. The Department of Corrections says 937 inmates have tested positive for the virus, with 270 cases still active. 2 deaths have been linked to COVID-19. Well, it's the morning after the last presidential debate. Less continuous than the first, covering more ground, keeping the fact checkers busy. Tracy Potts is live with a recap.
The presidential candidates back at it today with 11 days to go after a more focused exchange last night.
It was well moderated. They both had the opportunity to get their points across, and you learned more about them.
The second and final presidential debate, calmer than the first.
You know who I am. You know who he is. You know his character. You know my character. You know our reputations for honor and telling the truth.
I am the least racist person in this room.
This time there was substantive conversation on a number of issues, including coronavirus.
We're learning to live with it. We have no choice.
Learning to live with it. Come on. We're dying with it.
And on the minds of American families, health care.
Joe Biden is going to terminate all of those policies. These are people that love their health care.
What I'm going to do is pass Obamacare with a public option. It'll become Biden care.
This morning on Twitter, President Trump took Biden's debate challenge, posting video of Biden opposing fracking, extracting oil and gas.
No new fracking.
Biden clarified to reporters.
We're not going to get rid of fossil fuels. We're going to get rid of the subsidies for fossil fuels, but we're not going to get rid of fossil fuels for a long time.
The final debate before America decides who should lead. Tracy Potts, NBC News.
Today, the president has 2 rallies in Florida. Biden gives a speech on COVID and the economy from Delaware. Well, a public service announcement from U.S. astronaut on the International Space Station. Get out and vote. Kate Rubins cast her ballot from the International Space Station Thursday via absentee, a secure electronic ballot generated by a clerk's office in Harris County. Home of NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, was sent up via email to the ISS. Rubins filled out the ballot in the email and was downlinked and delivered back to the clerk's office. Rubins says she is proud she can make her voice heard in the presidential election despite being 253 miles above the Earth. She says voters here on Earth shouldn't dismiss the opportunity to cast their votes. Well, coming up at noon, we'll tell you why young people are enrolling in medical school at higher rates than ever. But next, after a stormy few days, it looks like we're finally getting a break. Lisa Green has your weekend forecast coming up.